I know you know where they are, so tell me, before I do some damage you won't walk away from.
Do it right. Sometimes you do it wrong and you prove them right. But through whose eyes you was wrong when you lose a life? Sometimes you lose it all. It's like you threw the dice and realize that you was off. Listen, do it right. Sometimes you do it wrong and you prove them right. But through whose eyes you was wrong when you lose a life? Sometimes you lose it all. It's like you threw the dice and realize that you was off.
Longevity in life, people. That's the goal, stay the course. You are now tuned in to the Evolved Energy Podcast. This is where we push positivity through strength and evolution. I am your host, Twyce. Hope everyone's in good spirits and riding on high vibrations today. Today's subject, what I want to talk to you about, it's something real, something that hits home with everybody because we're all victims of it. Breaking cycles, the habits, the routines, everything that's holding us back from being the best version of ourselves. That's what we're tackling today. Let's get into it. So most of us, we're trapped in our comfort zones. We're scared to explore the unknown because we never been there. We rather feel safe. Feeling safe it's everything to us because once we're out of our comfort zone, we haven't been there before. So it's different. And now we're scared. We don't know what to do. We don't know how to respond. It might feel safe to be in your comfort zone, but it keeps you repeating patterns, having the same thoughts, living the same story. It's like there's no evolving at all. So I always ask myself, am I growing or am I repeating? I always want to be climbing higher while I'm living. Every day I'm breathing, I want to do better. I'm never settled. I used to think, that was an issue. Like, damn, why I'm always searching for the next, because I'm never settling. I'm always evolving. I want what's great for me. And unfortunately, most of us settle. For example, think about relationships. A lot of people aren't happy, but you know why they don't break it off and start a new journey? Because they're comfortable. There's a lot of uprooting that must go on in a relationship for you to just break it off. You've been there for years. You probably know the children. If you got children by different, she has some in a previous relationship. You have some in a previous relationship. You guys are tight, so you don't want to break that off. So comfort becomes a crutch. That's the enemy of evolution because you can't leave that relationship because you're comfortable. But it's better to leave the relationship. It's better for you to leave the relationship. But it's hard. Comfort zones are real. I've been through it, We like chilling in the space that we know. And that's everyone. And it's not a crime. It's cool to be safe. But we're not here to be safe anymore. Right now, we're thriving. We want to go. We're on go mode. You get me? Like I said, this is halftime for us. 40s and 50s, we're recalibrating this engine of ours, and we're about to get right. Okay? Because nothing changes if nothing changes. So, with that being said, let's talk about recognizing the things that aren't good for you. Let's recognize the negative cycles you have in your life right now. Because they don't just show up. The habits don't just show up in your energy. They show up in how you appear, how you show up in the world. You look like your cycle. So I hope it's a righteous cycle. That's what we're shooting for, What if your cycle is like skipping workouts? Your bad cycle is eating bad food, or maybe surrounding yourself with people you don't need to be around. That's your bad cycle. You always go around the wrong things, the wrong people. Um, but the good thing about this is that your cycles, they're not your destiny. They're just your defaults. So you can change those. Cycles can be rewritten, you know? And most of us deal with the mental cycles, the excuses, the same stories, the doubts. I'm too old, I'm too tired, I'm too busy. We a lot of us deal with that. And unfortunately, it's harder to break out of those than to get into a positive cycle. But that's why we're here. That's why I'm here. I'm your motivator. And we're gonna get to this. We're gonna get to this plateau where all your cycles, they're positive. It's like reinventing yourself. Like I said, all this can be undone. And the power of breaking that cycle, that's a whole nother thing. Because every time you break a cycle, no matter how small it is, you step into a stronger version of yourself. And take baby steps first. Recognize the little things that are hurting you. Maybe it's, choosing water over soda, the discipline over the distraction. Like, don't turn the TV on until you do your push-ups or whatever it is. Choose the movement over laziness. You have to do this. And these small accomplishments, these will all stack up and they build momentum. And then before you know it, you're a whole different person because you broke that cycle. And it feels good turning into someone new. And you're going to be hungry for the evolution. And that's where we want to get you to. Because at first, when you start something new, it's always hard. It's hard as hell because it's foreign to you. I'm going to talk about exercising now. When you're exercising, it's foreign to you until your body gets acclimated to the weights, to the running, and all of that. Once you break through that I'm going to say it's a 3-month thing because it takes about 3 months for someone to create a habit. So I'm thinking about 3 months. After those 3 months, oh wow. Even before then, because you're going to see results, you're going to be craving for the change. So now when you see results and you're eating right and everything's all together, you're going to crave that. You're going to crave for more change. So yeah, that's where we're at with it. And you got to start breaking your cycle. It's hard to start breaking the cycle. That's one thing because once you recognize it, it's a whole nother thing breaking it. And I need you to keep it simple. Identify a small thing, like just one little thing that's draining your energy. And I want you to replace that with a better habit. Not something perfect. You don't have to, we're not being perfect, but better. For example, if in your smoothie you use whole fat milk, let's change to coconut milk or soy milk. Little accomplishments. And I want you to repeat these. Once you repeat these habits, repeat it daily. Cycle becomes your baseline. And then before you know it, you're evolving. One small shift at a time. We're not playing out here. We are a project and we're working on ourselves. You don't want to slack on yourself. You probably slacked in school on that project, but I bet you handed it in. You handed it in because you needed a passing grade and you did well enough to pass. I hope you did at least. but you're not going to slack on your body or on your health, on your life. No, we're doing everything possible to put us in the best, best position health-wise when we're older. Everything's a mindset shift. You don't have to be who you've always been. Everything's a mindset shift. I'll say that one more time. You don't have to be who you've always been. It's all right to change. And you're only changing for yourself. You're not changing for anyone else. I'm tired of people living for other people, thinking about what they think. I never been that way. Nah, I always lived, I'm going this way. I don't know what's happening, but I'm going this way. You're going to have to, entice me to go that way, or I'll listen to the facts. But nothing's changed in my mind if it's logical to go this way. Always been that way. That's how I turned vegan. I was in the gym and I used to train, people. I was actually living in North Miami at the time. I'm sorry, working in North Miami at the time. I was living in Hollywood, Florida, and I was in the gym training in my North Miami gym. And one of the clients, well, they actually were there for a consultation. That's what I used to do. I was the assistant, the assistant personal training manager. Let's put it that was the title. I'm glad I remembered that. But anyways, I'll sit the people down, see what they've been eating, their habits, how active they are. Just ask them a whole bunch of questions about them and their exercise level or how they're living their life. And then I walk them around the gym, give them a workout. And this is all planned, by the way, because they call for an appointment with the personal trainer. So we have this whole thing we go through. And so I meet people, probably 30, 40 people a day. So there was one lady, I should say, after the session, she was like, hey, you need to see this video that I watched because you look like, or the way we were conversing, I think you'll be a good candidate for this video, to watch this video. So she told me to watch the video. It's called What the Health. I went home, watched the video, threw all the meat out, and turned vegan that day. The next day, went grocery shopping and replaced everything with whole foods and vegan foods. So, and had to learn on the way. But my point, that video showed me a better way of eating and showed me, no disrespect to anyone how they eat. I'm just talking about me. It showed me what meat does to us. Plus, I'm a fan of animals, and I don't like the slaughter of animals anyway. We're eating animals. We were brought up that way, but to me, that's wrong. I thought God made everybody here just to exist. And when you see those stories and you're reading those books, all the animals are around and everyone's walking and laughing. I just want all the animals to live. I'm just not a fan of that. As well as consuming, putting that meat in my body. You know how long it takes for that red meat to digest? That's one thing. I could go into a whole spiel, but we'll get into that. We got forever. But anyways, that video showed me, I said, oh no, I was taught wrong. We're throwing all of this out and we're vegan now. And it's been 10 years and I feel amazing. Like I said, I'm 50 years old, but honestly, I feel about 30, if that, because I'm doing everything, whether it's deadlift, pull-up, push-up, sprint, jog, swim, whatever you want to do, I'm doing it. I'm not playing ball no more, though, because I can't risk, an ankle break or a knee ACL tear. A lot of ACL tears going on out there. I can't risk that because I have to run every day and do things in the gym. So I'm not going to go the ball route. We're not going to take it that fountain of youth, but I feel awesome. And this is how I want everyone else to be, feeling awesome. I don't care how old we are. We're setting this off now, right now. So with that being said, growth. It's all about growth. And that means stepping into the unknown. Growth is good. Always been good. When has growing not been good? Only if you had a rash or something like that. You don't want the rash to grow. But you always want to grow. Mentally, physically, you know. So break that cycle because that cycle, that's what's keeping you, that's holding you back. And yep, it feels strange. It feels strange when you're breaking a cycle and people around you don't understand it. But you know what? You got to live for you. What you feel is good, you roll with. Doesn't matter what other people think. Because the only person who has to understand your evolution is you. Always remember that. Now, listen, if this hit home, if you know someone who needs to hear this, who's ready to break that cycle in their life, share it with them. I don't care who it is, share it with them. Stranger on the street, walking by, share it with them. All right, fuel your body, focus your mind, evolve your spirit. And remember, nothing changes if nothing changes. This is the Evolved Energy Podcast. Peace and power.